Okay, today we're going to do something a little different. Siddhananda's here, and we are going to do the pendulum and connect with Christ and just see there are a lot of questions that people have had. And so we're going to connect with that energy and see what comes through. I have a few questions I want to ask that have to do with today's religions and climb, etc., of what's going on. So let's see if we can connect with that Christ energy and see what Yeshua Ben Joseph has to say today.
All right.
I prefer to use Yeshua Ben Joseph, what his name was actually. Yeah. He wasn't known by Jesus, okay?
Right. And so we have an image. Should I show them the image?
It's fine, yeah. We have an image of Christ.
So this is the image we're using on the phone, and then I'm using the pendulum, and it just connects in with the image, okay? So right away, the pendulum is making the sign of a cross. Okay. Holy man, okay. Holy man with his mind still will speak.
Yeah, with a still mind. He speaks with a stilled mind.
With his mind still will speak. It's still, quiet.
Yeah, of course he's going to be a realized master. I mean, goes without saying.
Oh, yeah. That's it. I mean, really, if we were saying he's in, all this mental stuff, we'd wonder what we're connecting with here. But is what is being said so far, which is a good start.
Which is an excellent start. So, yeah.
Okay, so speak what you have to say.
Oh, well, go ahead and ask what you wanted to ask. You wanted to ask something.
Oh,
somebody
okay.
was asking a couple of questions, and then we'll go ahead and go.
Yeah, I actually wrote those down. I'm trying to remember. So someone was asking about the Bible, and what are the heart of the teachings in the Bible, really?
How much of the Bible is maybe accurate?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with accuracy of the Bible.
The accuracy of the Bible, because we know, a lot of people contributed and wrote a lot of things. So let's see what we have for the accuracy of what is stated in there.
So with the Bible, the writing in there, I can see the Bible open, the passages there, some of them in red, some in black. Mm-hmm. Words speak of heart in the life of crucifixion and the resurrection, and what that is about in the heart of I want to say mystic, or the heart of the one that moves in that direction, or where to go to with the right ways of behaving, the right ways of, living. But in terms of accuracy, let's see. So we've got a plus, I see, and we've got a negative. Right. So we're looking at some are true speaking of biblical time, while others have a taint of other hands on it.
Yeah.
With their pen or with their voice, they spoke ways that were not completely in alignment with the heart of the message of the Bible. Some of that is in there in this writing. Okay.
Right, so, the heart of the teachings.
Yeah, so some of it. So we're looking at a plus, we're looking at a negative in there. Okay, so we've got both, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So in terms of the heart of the message, let's look on the plus side of the things that
let's
resonate
look at the plus.
Of what's truly in alignment with Christ's teachings, what's in the heart of it. Let's look on the plus side, okay? So we will say, what is in the heart of those teachings? So let's open that book. And I do see like the heart, or that space, that spaciousness in the heart, then there is an opening, like doors or book. Okay, so we're opening into the heart of this holy book or message or way that someone walked in the truth, is what's resonating. We're looking at that life and that feeling. And so the heart of it is to be settled. I see a snake, I see a serpent. It's fire, serpent and fire.
Okay. See a serpent and fire, and he's saying, be still, be settled.
Yes. So
I think it comes back to his message of fear not to have fear, and to...
Yeah, so that's there with, you see that fire, you see a book by it. It's like that needs to be lived and enlivened in you.
Right.
Versus it just coming from
rather
this
than using
book.
him as somebody to just cling to as an outside thing.
That's
well,
right.
that was his message.
Right.
If you believe in me, follow me, which means
That's
you have
exactly
to put it
right.
into motion rather than just saying, oh, I believe in you, so now save me. If I just take, baptism. So how much is baptism actually needed?
Okay.
The ritual of baptism, of being dunked in the water and all of that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. We've got this
We'll get to the nitty-gritty here.
Baptism, is it a requirement for purification, say?
Is baptism a requirement for being saved, quote
for
unquote,
saved.
quote unquote,
Very good.
quote unquote, saved?
Being saved. No.
Exactly, no.
No.
Baptism is more of a thing of a state of mind, to saying I'm surrendered into that death before death, and I'm renewing my life. I'm ending the old way. See if that's correct. I'm ending the old dynamic, and I'm going to be reborn into a new ideation, a new consciousness to follow these teachings.
So you see the yes. It's very heavy yes. And because a lot of people do these things out of fear too, or they do it out of thinking if they just go through those motions, it's all going to be fine, without really, really moving in that direction in their heart. So let's see, with the heart, if one moved in the direction of doing it in the heart and not take baptism, is there something that means this isn't as
effective?
Is this what this means? And you can see there's a heavy weight to this. There's a no. Is this like primary over the other if it's in their heart? Is this what matters? So you could see a yes. Okay, you could see a yes.
Yeah, because what's the important thing is to follow God with all of your heart. It's not the outward leaning. If they've never heard of Christ, doesn't mean they're going to hell. Okay, ask that. If they've never heard of Christ, and yet they're following the teachings of God, they're following that life of doing unto others and doing the things of the Spirit, are they still saved, quote unquote, saved?
Good point. Yes, they are indeed. In fact, they're I'm feeling they're like a child of God, or they're a heart of God,
Right.
They're a flower of God, and because they're living it. And that's what that fire is by the holy book, that fire where that life has to come
Right.
through
It's like
you.
that when you set the fire, it just hit that that you have to be refined in the fire. So spoken of in the Old Testament. Check with that you have to go through the refinement. You have to go through the walk yourself. You have to, in order to know God, you have to go through that walk and refining process within yourself.
So there's a yes, and I really, at least, when you hit on that, when you say it has to be enlivened in you, it comes from the heart, these things, is this the heart of the message here? Okay, so one can see yes, so it's not the outer. It's not all those...
Right. It's not that clinging to that thing. So let's go into some of the ones I want to check on today. What message would Christ have for those churches that are teaching prosperity preachers.
Right. And how does that, tell me a little bit more, put a little more energy out about the prosperity
Okay,
teachers.
you have preachers that are saying, if you give your tithe, you send money to me, you're going to get 10 times more.
Okay.
That you're there to be prosperous,
Got you.
And this is the message, and I think the message has replaced the genuine message of surrender into God. It's more about this ego affirming, and I'm going to get this money. I'm going to, so check and see what is said on that.
Prosperity preachers,
are they in alignment with your teachings?
Are they in alignment with the heart, of this feeling that's coming now? Okay, so we're seeing a skewing. Okay, it's skewed.
Right.
This is my skewing here, okay? It's skewed in that thinking this is incorrect. This is not lined up, let's put it that way, with Christ's true message. This is, and I do see some money. This is more about accumulation of external things.
Right. What I see it as, and you can go ahead and keep checking with him with this. What I see is like when he went into the money changers and threw the money changer tables over and said, "You made this a den of thieves, and this should be a house of prayer." Right. I see it in conjunction with that. Sense. Is that correct or wrong?
Okay, there's a very heavy feeling to it now, and there is a yes to this. It's heavy, it's substantial feeling.
Yeah. These are not following the teachings of Christ. For me, they feel like the sheep's and wolves clothing. That these are, ask him if these are, in fact, and the feeling I got today, that the preachers and things overall today are really more under the energy of an antichrist rather than the Christ. Ask him if that's true.
Is this true? What Guruji said, is this correct?
Are they more under the teachings and the feelings of an antichrist rather than the teachings that you were trying to impart when you were here?
Okay, so we get a small skewed, and then we get a turning, yes, and then we get some no. So we've got a variation of things in there.
Okay. Well, not all of them can be lumped into one thing. I think it needs to be a specific. But I'm talking about the overall energy of these prosperity teachings. And what is the other one? Oh, these ones that are... What about these evangelicals that will put Trump up on a pedestal with all the negative things that he is doing? Is that being... Did God, in fact, put him in his place where he's at now?
Put Trump in his place where he's at?
Yeah, they say that they say, Trump's there by God's hand.
God put President Trump,
as a way to, that he is something to follow.
Okay, follower, and then
if he's something to be followed.
Is true what Guruji said? Did God put this man that we have in office now in place as someone? No.
No,
not
of course not.
Not at all.
No. Trump is not something to be worshipped, and this is a problem. Evangelicals say, "Oh no, God put him there. He's there for our benefit." No, if anything else, and check with this, we see that he is there just to show what needs to be changed. That he is a dark energy. Is he there to show what needs to be changed?
Okay, see, just a stilling. It's actually got a trembling. You can see it tremble.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got a trembling. It's got a... it's kind of not... again, it's moving. Okay, so there's at least it looks like it's making a cross, okay?
Yeah.
It's
making a cross.
Its holiness is not... Wait. Okay, put in there. So holiness is not in place right now within that Congress, I guess. Is the feeling.
There's no holiness there. He's of the dark energy. He is a dark energy. He's not put there. If anything, the only thing we can learn from that is how dark the things are and what needs to be changed. But it's not somebody you put up on a pedestal and say, "Oh, he's there by God's hands. He's fabulous. He's wonderful." Okay.
No.
So, as far as, how do I want to word this? The evangelicals and these ones that are supposed to be Christians, quote unquote Christians, if they are going to incur karma by their actions, by following this,
the ones that are outwardly saying they're all this, but inside certain behaviors do not match.
When their behaviors are not matching with the teachings of Christ.
Yes. So do they have karma?
Do they have karma?
Do they have karma?
Is there karma for Christians that...
Yes, they do. Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karma is in place.
You can see it getting bigger, too.
As big karma.
Actually, it's getting
bigger. You know, this idea that, you know, you can be a Christian saying you're a Christian, but if you're not following the dictates of Christ, forget it. You're going to have karma, and that's got to be paid. Okay? Okay, I have another question. Is a hell realm waiting for these priests that have been pedophiles?
Is what Guru G said true? Is this the truth?
Is a hell realm waiting for these priests that have been pedophiles?
Okay, so you can see how it makes a cross, which is interesting. It's making a cross and then it's sinking down. Like, okay, they dishonored their the cross. They dishonored.
They're dishonoring. They are not standing in the place of Christ. You cannot go to somebody like that for absolution. Right. You know, they have this idea, I can do, you know, I can be a pedophile, and all I have to do on my deathbed is ask for forgiveness, and it'll all go away. Okay? Not going to happen.
Right.
So ask about that deathbed, ideation of the deathbed. If all your sins are forgiven because at the last minute you say, well, I want to be forgiven.
Right, it doesn't matter what you did in life, and all of a sudden you just say, okay, I'm going,
if I get the priest there, if
right.
I get the priest there and I give my confession and I ask for my sins to be forgiven, are they going to be forgiven?
Right. So let's see how does it work that way? Is this
exactly,
this
it doesn't work. No.
Okay, but let's see. Okay, so you can see. No, it's not.
No, it's how you live your life.
It's not how that is.
Yeah. It's a big no. That's
probably one of the bigger no's we've seen today.
Exactly.
With this so far.
And this is what I've said about these followers of Nityananda and stuff that think they're supporting their guru, and so everything is mitigated, that they can just get out of it because, you know, because they have these fake ones telling, well, don't worry, you don't have any karma attached to this because you're doing it under my auspices and I'm standing here, you know, and that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is. Yeah. So, I have another one. Can you do a mantra to negate karma? This is another one. They think if they do a mantra, it's going to get rid of their karma.
Oh, so if they do it themselves, even though they've been behaving this way, will it negate the karma?
Will it negate the karma?
That they've accrued from certain behaviors.
Exactly.
I see. Does this work? It's very heavy. No, it does not.
No, it does not.
No.
Okay, no. Yeah. You've got to rectify your actions. It's like Christ was saying, you know, you need to repent. It means to be sorry for what you've done. You need to make reparations, and you need to change that action. You need to change that whole mindset, that whole ideology. Okay? All of that needs to be changed. It's not just saying, oh, well, if I'm under the blood of Christ, I'm forgiven.
Right.
Okay? Right. I'm forgiven. I'm a Christian, or I'm this, and I'm forgiven, or I can do a mantra, and I'm forgiven. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Okay, now let's ask about this ideology that they're having, and that was a question somebody had asked about the whole planet changing its consciousness immediately.
Okay, like for just all of a sudden, is it going to just move in that direction?
Is there going to be a big shift?
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. For future happenings, for the consciousness, conscious vibration, is this just going to change immediately on this planet? No.
Yeah, no. Is it that everyone has to walk their own path and come into surrender, into the teachings of God, into that surrender, into that death before death? Is it a solitary journey for each consciousness.
Okay, so you can see it as a yes.
Yes.
So it can't just happen without your personal efforts.
Exactly.
There's no way that that's going to happen.
It's also that it's said in there that it just came now. Let's see if it comes again. That faith without works is dead.
Right.
Ask if that's true. If it's something he taught. Faith without works is dead.
Okay, this feels like it's going to really wind up. I could feel a winding, like it can probably go as big as you can probably make a pendulum.
Exactly.
Look at this.
If you are actually following it, then you will be doing the right actions.
Yeah.
Okay? But you're not just going to get there by the right actions. If you are in that faith, if you have knowledge of God, then you have to, and this is what somebody said today. Well, you could be God realized, you could be in that consciousness, and you could still commit wrongdoings. Doesn't mean anything. You could still be in a court case.
Wow.
Would that be an actuality
For someone that was
for
really
someone that is really within God
Okay,
consciousness?
Is that even possible?
It doesn't.
Let's
doesn't.
just see.
It doesn't come up. It doesn't come up. No,
it's an impossibility.
it's not in your consciousness.
It wouldn't even be there.
Exactly. You would never do something
Yeah.
to put another under subjugation.
Right,
Not
right.
ever.
Right.
It doesn't come up in the consciousness. Okay, is it true that when one reaches into that point of that death before death and has seen basically what you call the face of God, entered that spirit of God, that the mind stills, that there's a direct consciousness that happens?
Okay.
Is that true on a Christian path as well?
Okay, this isn't going to go to no. I can feel it pulling to this yes. There's just, there's no barriers to it to say that it's this or that in terms of your religion. It's the same. It's
Right.
the
It has
same.
nothing to do with religious
Right.
persuasion. When one enters, when it says when you've seen the face of God, that you die, it means that that ego self is gone. It evaporates. It never was. The only thing that reality at that point is God. Ask if that's true. That the only reality one sees when they enter that death before death is God's spirit, God essence.
Okay, so see how it's stilled?
Yeah.
Immediately stilled. That's what happens. It's again that's where this amazing stillness just came to.
Yes, that stillness. If you enter that stillness, that still point, I call it zero. Would that be correct to call it like a 0 point balance? A 0 point balance of stilling that enters. You enter that. That's what's termed that peace. Peace that passes understanding. You have to go beyond the logical mind of understanding to enter that peace. The peace that passes understanding. It doesn't come through mental ideations. That peace comes from that still point, that still heart, that still spirit of God essence.
All right there, all being confirmed by the
it
energy.
doesn't matter. And then I want to ask also, religions have come out of somebody that has viewed the reality, but they try to bring it back into their cultures. And unfortunately, what has happened, let's check and see if this is right. What happens is there is a skewing by men in mental that have minds that are still going, that they try to make it into a list of do's and don'ts.
Right,
Okay.
so you've got this original, and then it gets, as people try to
starts
interpret it in
get
different
dogmatic.
things.
It skews
And
it
loses
into
its-
it skews that perfection into a skewed dogmatic of do's and don'ts and cultural ideations that they surround it with.
Okay, so it's just kind of connecting when you say that, and then it's feeling like what's showing it, that it degrades it.
Yeah, it degrades it.
Yeah.
Right. So you can have, it doesn't matter, what is the external thing. Like Christ came to be a reformer of Judaism. Ask if that's correct. He came to be a reformer of Judaism. That's why he said he was the king of the Jews. He came in that modality to be a reformer of the wrong ideations that they had going at that time through the Old Testament. See if that's correct. That he came to be a reformer.
Yes.
A reformer of that religious persuasion. Although he could have come through any religious persuasion to be a reformer, and it would have been just as valid.
Yes.
Okay?
So it's not a, this or that thing. It's
Exactly.
not a label thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So again, you know, Christians nowadays, so-called Christians, and he never came, ask this, did you come to make a separate religion called Christianity?
Boy, good question. Really
Yeah,
good
did
question.
you come to make a separate religion called Christianity?
Okay, that's a pretty decent no.
Yeah, no. He was a reformer for Judaism. He was never supposed to be a religion. Okay? He is not a religion. Okay? He came to reform Judaism. But he didn't come and set himself up to be a religion, what they have tried to put around him. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He is an enlightened being. I guess you would say he's like like what they would call in Hinduism as an avatar.
I would say he is.
So let's ask that. Would you be the equivalent of an avatar, what they call an avatar in Hinduism?
This consciousness that he resides in.
Yes,
this being resides
this being.
in. Yes.
Yes.
And it's very heavy. It's very substantial. You can
It's
see
like that weighty with knowledge, like
Yeah.
that energy, that that he is a fulfillment of that knowledge.
Right.
He is a fulfillment
Right.
of that knowledge.
That's right.
When he came in the planet, he didn't go to study here and there. Oh, let's ask about that. Did he study, that this is another big one they have, that Christ was walking the earth and he studied Hinduism.
They say that?
Yeah.
They're what we're wondering about that. Did he
Yeah.
study
Did you
Hinduism?
study
So,
Did you study
go
other
down here more to
modalities
this.
when you were on the earth plane? Did you study? Did you have teachers?
okay, so let's see what's happening with this. Let me get in there a little more. No. Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
No, he was like what the Hinduism calls an avatar. He came in ingrained with that knowledge. He was already a perfected being when he came into embodiment. So this ideation that he was wandering around and he studied under Hindu masters is false.
Let's see.
Okay.
So is it false? What this statement that people put out, is that false? Yes, it is. It is
Yes,
false.
he was not that. Okay, let's ask about the resurrection.
Yeah.
That was another question that was coming
Yeah.
in there. We want to know about the resurrection. When you had this surrender in the cross and you spent the 3 days, when you came out, did it resurrect the physical body? Was there a physical body resurrection?
Okay. Physical body resurrect. Yes.
Yes. So there was a full body resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, it says that you had left there and they had seen you. And then did you live the rest of a normal life, or did you, in fact, go up on the hill and translate and leave
Okay.
with your physical form?
Okay, so is it the first one or the second one? Oops. Is it the first?
Did you live a natural life and die a natural death?
No.
No. Did you go up and were you ascended into the heavens with your form?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
He came up and he had a physical form and he ascended. Okay. I think he's the only one on the planet that's
I
ever
think
done
so.
that.
That's
I think it's the only.
incredible.
Are you the only one on the planet that has done that? That has left with a physical form. That'll be an interesting one to see.
Let's let it. I think it's sinking in. It's pretty. That's pretty intense.
That's an intense question.
You're the only one. I mean, we're talking about
He may
all
be
of
the only one.
all
He
of
might
history.
have been the only one in history
Ooh, if
that's
there were more,
left.
that'd be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
Well, there was the one that left the planet, but they say Enoch. Enoch left the planet, but they say maybe he left in a spaceship. That'll be an interesting one to ask, too, if Enoch left in a spaceship.
Okay, so let's see about...
But let's see Christ's first.
The only
let's
one
see
in which the body ascended.
that you ascended and translated the body.
It's still so heavy and it's wanting to lay there a bit. Whoops.
Okay.
So there's a lot of heaviness to it.
We'll see what happens on this.
Weight to it.
Yeah, because that's a deep question. That's
very
not
deep.
one that usually comes up. Not too many people are leaving the planet in their physical form.
Okay, so let's see if we get anything. Is this true? Is this that this particular incident is the only one ever that's happened? Yes.
The only one that's ever happened.
Happened this way. We're seeing a yes. With that.
Okay. Let's ask about Enoch. Can you answer a thing about Enoch?
Saying no.
No? He can't answer about Enoch. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's interesting. You would think he would be able to answer that. Okay.
Huh.
Could there ever be another person that left the body just translates?
That left the body?
No, that could.
Oh, could.
Could
that happen?
Could that happen
again?
Could that happen again? That somebody just translates, just leaves.
Could this ever happen again? This happening. Could it ever come again?
Of somebody leaving with the physical form.
Well, we're getting a no. It's not something that just may occur again.
Okay.
At least that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Interesting. Boy, that's quite a thing then.
Yeah. He's
That's
the only
quite a
one
thing.
that it's happened with.
Does he still have a body and stuff? How does that work? I don't know.
Okay.
It's so mysterious.
You could ask it. I think it probably transformed into rarefied when he left. It was probably already rarefied,
It had
pretty
to be.
much.
It had to be.
Okay, let's ask this. Were you walking around and people were seeing an absolute physical form, but you were more already in a rarefied body?
Before the crucifixion?
Yeah.
Or after?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Either
Doesn't
one.
matter.
It's
you
not
know.
like anything changed. He's always was that way.
Yeah, he's always
You know?
been that way.
So is this true that it was, even though they were seeing a physical body, it was really more of a rarefied form of light?
Yeah, a rarefied
or,
form, yeah.
whatever you want to call it. It had something, yes.
Yeah,
It wasn't what you saw it to be
right.
at all. So was it different than other, most that were there, even though if they were feeling purified or very rich in spirit, was this a different thing? Yes, his was remarkable. His was not one that
Okay,
can be
I want to
stated
dispel
to be,
something. There were those that have said that he was a hologram. So I want to dispel that.
hologram.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Is this true that you are a hologram type of presentation?
No. So I just wanted to dispel that. You know, there were those that came that were supposed to be of alien intelligence, you know, and these are, I don't talk a lot about this, but I had these one entities that wanted to try to convince me that he was a hologram and this and that, and you know, ask if that's true, if I've had these experiences that I'm talking about, you know, where I've run into this alien energy and they tried to pull me into that darkness to skew these teachings, you know, but that's not happening. Okay?
Yeah, there is a yes there.
Yeah. I've been through some very, very odd experiences.
You go through odd experiences.
I have gone through some
journey.
very odd.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, of these dark energies that wanted to try to skew the teachings of Christ and skew these, and I just went, you know, no, we're not, you know, and they had gotten actually calls to get me out of that house because they could have wound up dying because I would confront their energies. Anyway, it's another thing entirely. We're not going to get into all of that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother deal.
That's a whole other spiel. You don't even want to know about that. But yeah, no, I've been through a ringer with this stuff. So, if people are going to get to realization, do they basically, like I have tried to tell people, they have to basically walk the path of Christ and face the things that he was showing in his lifetime when he was on the planet.
Is this true? Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's not an easy path. If you want to know God and you want to surrender, you have to basically walk the path. He was here to show the way forward. And you have to face the temptations. You have to face like the scourging. You have to surrender yourself. Okay? It's not a joke. It's a very difficult path. Okay? Again, one has to walk that path by themselves. It's not going to happen by a planetary shift. All of a sudden, everybody's going to become enlightened because there are a number of enlightened people on the planet. It doesn't work that way. Each consciousness has to go towards that God energy on their own, walk that path alone, and put those sacrifices in place. It's the only way to do it. Okay? So let's, okay, I know what I wanted to ask. Is there a heavier karma in place for those that set themselves up as teachers, which are conning people and doing those things that are erroneously saying they are teachers?
Yeah.
Is the karmic load for them much heavier?
Okay, so it does get very heavy and, it drops down. So it's just showing that the weight or that karmic load will be a lot heavier.
They'll be in a hell realm for a lot of years. They will be in an absolute hell realm for a lot of years. To do. Okay? They may think they're all that and sit themselves up. And was this not the fall? This is what I wanted. Was this not the fall of Satan that became into ego rather than giving that glory to God, rather than focusing on God? He focused on himself, his achievements, his wants, his desires, and so then at that point he became Satan.
Okay, so there's a heavy yes to it. It's heavy and it's just, you can see this. This is what happened in
you become very skewed. Your energy is all over the map. Yeah. Nothing was created evil. Ask if that. Was anything ever created evil?
Okay, no.
No. And so-called evil is when one goes into that mindset of, I want to be separate from God. I want my own autonomy, Oh, this is another one I love. I'm a co-creator with God.
Right.
I'm a co-creator with God. Okay? Does God need anybody's help to be a co-creator? Does God need anybody's help to be a co-creator?
No.
No. Hello. God does just fine on their own, Is God a spirit?
God a spirit.
Is God a spirit?
Okay, there's a yes.
Yeah. God is spirit. God does not have a corporeal form. He's not some big dude sitting up on a throne, okay? Is God judging everybody's singular life?
Is God judging everyone's singular life? No.
No. God is an energy. God is this consciousness. It's not like they're pointing. People think God is up there pointing and directing them this and that.
Right.
No, is God that inherent energy that karma has to be in place because of the dynamic of what God is? Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's if you go into God realization, if you go into that consciousness and that stilling, beyond a shadow of a fact. Can anybody ever really truly be separate from God?
Good question.
Can anyone ever truly be separate from God?
Never.
No.
Never.
If you were separate from God, you would have no life.
Yeah.
You would have no life. And this is why they have the ones that go into what they call the second death. In the Bible, it will talk about the first death, and then they have those that will go into a second death eventually. Those that have distanced themselves from God in their consciousness, And for years they may go through, see if this is true, for eons they may go through a hell realm. But eventually, if they do not turn around to go towards the light, they will eventually die that second death. That consciousness will be no more.
Oh, right, that you've talked about before. Where
It'll
it can
be
get to
absorbed.
that
It'll be
degree,
like absorbed. It'll
almost
lose.
where they're unconscious. It won't
Right.
ever come again.
Right,
In that
right.
way. That would be something that would be very, very dark and nasty and evil.
Yeah,
thing.
they go from. I feel like they go from a hell realm into an absolute feeling of separation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? That they go from maybe a hell realm of like-minded consciousness to eventually pulling even
Being
into
absorbed,
darkness,
reabsorbed.
into being like a singular and then being absorbed.
I see what you're saying. Wow, backwards the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this true? You're seeing it? Yes, boy.
Yeah.
That's heavy stuff.
It's heavy stuff. They may go into a hell realm for a time and they get another birth to try to change that, to try to rectify, to try to go forward. But if they don't go forward and they stay in that, eventually they will be feeling like that separation into an absolute darkness.
And that's it.
And
They
then
don't have any other
eventually
chances.
they will lose that consciousness. That light will totally go out. Okay,
Boy, I tell
that
you,
light
that's
will
karma.
totally go
It
out.
takes care of things. It
It does, you know, like I said, for a while they will be in hell realms and they'll feel the pain. Ask if that's true. When you leave the form, will they feel the pain they have caused other people?
Right, good question. Another
Will
good
they
one.
have to endure the pain that they have caused other
now
people?
It's going so big. It's like making this circle. My hand feels so light, so I'll give it just a second.
So we'll see what happens with that.
This is the most span I felt. It really just wants to go around like this space or whatever is there is one. So if you harm that, that is all of God, then you have night. Night comes to you. Night.
Yeah. Night.
Like a darkness, a dark time.
Yeah. So you're going to have to feel what you've put others through.
Yeah.
So those ones, you know, and I hate to use the name Nityananda or Sai Baba or any of those that have caused these conning and caused, you know, lost people's fortunes, lost their lives, they've done sexual abuse, all the things they perpetrated on others and the pain they have caused others, they themselves will have to endure as a wake-up call to what their actions have done. Because what you've done to those, you have done to yourself. And this is the lesson they need to see. What you've done to others,
that's right.
You have done to yourself. That's just coming in now. What you've done to others,
That's
you have done to
exactly
yourself.
what that
And
part
so
is.
you get a concrete reality of that. You are going to have to face the concrete reality of that. Okay?
And that's exactly what that was saying. You know, it's one. And so you're harming yourself. You're harming God in a way if you go and do this to someone else.
Well, that's what Christ was trying to indicate when he said, what you have done to the least of these, you have done to me.
Right. That's right. And that's the feeling of it. So that's a big thing. And then I saw an image of a knife, too. So you're going to get that cutting right back.
Right. That cutting is going to be there. You're going to have to endure it. So, you know, I don't take karma lightly. I know that karma is in place, you know, and no genuine realized master, guru, teacher would ever do anything to incur karma, because you know what you inflict on others is going to be inflicted back on yourself.
Right.
And even more so, especially if you've set yourself up to be a teacher and a light to others. Okay? So let's see. Is there anything else you can think of?
You know, part of it was, what would Christ say about what's happening in today's times? Do you think we brought that out, you know, with all that's happening in the world now, the polarization, you know, the
let's ask that. Is there, in fact, like I've said, is there a polarization happening at this present time, where those that are in darkness are skewing closer to darkness, and those that are light that are moving forward more towards light? Is there that divisionary time happening now?
Okay, so again, it's feeling heavy, and it is showing this divide with this there and this there being very accentuated now.
Yeah.
Very much lost sight of the middle. now?
Yeah.
The balance in it all. Okay, this is, like, you see big yes.
Yeah.
The whole feeling of it is that way, is that souls have lost the center of it.
Right.
And they're just diverting themselves to one or the other, in which this balance is gone.
Right, and that's why I keep saying grounding, balance. You need to balance, you need to ground. And this is why I've gone more, into trying to teach more of the Native American, to get people more grounded, because they're in this airy-fairy ideations. And, yeah. Oh, let's ask him if there's harm in eating meat.
Oh, good question. These are
We
all
get a lot
things
of
we're going to
vegetarian-
dispel
this-
some of
these
these
are
things. Is it a
things-
spiritual thing?
Yeah.
Is it a spirit? Are you not spiritual, first of all, if you eat meat? Okay, this is incorrect.
Right.
This is incorrect.
Everything,
is what this
because
is showing.
everything is eternal in nature. Okay, everything is eternal in nature. You leave this body, you haven't, they haven't died, they go on to whatever the next thing that they're doing. But that's just, unfortunately, that's the way this planet is. You need to have that to stay grounded. Why it's like that, I don't know, but it's simply the way it is here.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, too, while he's here, there were two things. One was, are there any messages for the planet now?
That would be a good one. Do you have anything? Yeah. Okay, Christ, do you have anything? This is your platform.
That's one. The other one.
Please
help us with that.
Please, if you have anything to say, please bring it forward. And if there's anything I need to know as a teacher that I'm not doing, that I would be good to be doing, I would appreciate if that would come forward.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
And am I giving the most and the best light that I can give?
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll go
those
with that
few
in a minute. But
yeah.
Also the other one was, since we've worked with the afterlife, and I have some afterlife readings, you've done them. And sometimes people say, I don't believe in that stuff, or they just go to heaven, so that reincarnation doesn't exist.
Right.
And so they just, forget it. This is wrong. And that they feel like Christianity or that kind of thing, it speaks about heaven only. And,
well, it doesn't. There was some mentions in the Bible that point towards reincarnation, but yeah, ask them directly if there's a reincarnation. Is reincarnation a fact?
Is this a fact? Okay, this is the question. Okay, right away there's a yes. This is a fact of energy. This is a fact of spirit transformation.
Because people get a chance to move forward. They get a chance to rectify. They get a chance to, again, go through the same lessons that they need to learn, that they want to try to improve on.
So, but then this heaven and hell thing, or heaven, or I'm here and then heaven. So,
Well, okay, they have that for a time, but it's not eternally there. They spend time in either one of the realms. Either it's a hell realm or more perceived as a heaven realm, until they get drawn back into a physical body.
Well, that's the thing. So there is still movement. I mean, if the mind is in place, and they talk about heaven, I mean, is heaven, what is that about? Is that something, so there is a heaven, which I never thought there wasn't. I'm just putting this out there because people get themselves twisted around like there's only one thing. I'm not saying I never negated heaven. I'm just, was wondering about that when people have that. So that's the reality, and they do join their loved ones. I'm putting this out that people don't sometimes really, first of all, they think that's all there is, and then other times they think that's not true.
Right.
So this is just something to put out, and it's got a very heavy, strong feeling, and then it shifts, okay? So, and it's just speaking to also there's movement in this journey forward. There'll be movement in journeys forward always. So, there's sometimes space or where there's this heaven feeling and heaven reality, and yet onward there is an outer time then where there's movement in a journey that takes place. Right.
They'll be pulled back into a form when they're ready to go forward into their next lesson, into their next expansion, or whatever it is they're doing.
Or,
exactly.
All of these
things. It's
the
same thing like Hinduism and lokas. You stay there until you exhaust that good karma, whatever. As they say, you exhaust the good karma. Okay, but when you're ready to go forward, it's like a breather. For them, it's a breather, and for those that are going to hell realms, it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we'll
you've got
put
the
it that
different,
way.
depending again on, and I see plus negative karma
Right,
in you, karma
right.
in you.
Right. So
Plus
let's go ahead
negative.
and ask the other questions
messages we wanted
about
to
if
put
he
out.
has, what message he has.
Sure. Okay, so we're going to go with messages. Okay. Messages for the planet that today, what can come there. Okay, so again, we're seeing a cross happening here around him, and I see a light coming up from the cross, a white, very cross with, again, the energy is rising from it. So, okay, so messages, so speak with, when you speak, you don't speak little words. Don't speak such little words. That's here that so many do. Speak with mind more heart-centered,
Yeah.
because what it does is speaking that with these small words that there's breaking apart of connections. There's
Yeah, don't be so small-minded.
Yeah.
Don't be so small-minded,
Yeah.
expand, talking more expansion of
Yeah.
connection, connectedness.
Right. And feel
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So, okay, so there's one, and mine needs to be balanced. Mine needs to be balanced and listening to God. Okay, listen to God. Don't listen like other voice. Listen God, which is heart of love. Okay, heart of love, heart of not worry about what other people judge you, and all that people get into. Okay, so listen more to that, to spirit.
Yeah, so listen to spirit, listen to higher things rather than get into self-negation, self-doubt, all of those things that you do to, again, it's like I said, the trolls. The trolls like to put a seed of doubt there that grows and stifles you and stifles everything, to make you feel bad about yourself, to make you feel bad about these things. So negate that. Don't go there. Don't get involved in that. Okay.
Yeah, and this is speaking a lot to what's happening now. Like people get on the net, the computer. So this is a lot of what is happening behind the scenes, all over the place.
Right.
And as small as it may seem, it's adding to the mess we have now. It may seem
Exactly.
small, but it isn't. It isn't small at all. Okay, so
yeah, don't buy into these dark energies and these conspiracy theories and all this other drama.
Right. Okay, let's see what else comes. Okay, so vision. Okay, so the pendulum is going around his eyes, like vision needs to see differently than what people see. They see man, woman, they see things that are different. They judge, they preach, they want their own way. Okay, so this vision and the way they see,
you're perceptive. You're
change.
perceptive. You need to change your perceptions, and that's coming up in the cards a lot.
Okay.
Ask if the things that I'm giving daily is beneficial to people. The daily readings that I'm giving.
Yeah, there's a nice heavy weight to it. Very nice. Very
So
helpful.
that's been coming up a lot more. Watch your perception, the way you view things, again, and stay grounded, and become more spacious. Open your world, open your senses, again, so that you can progress.
And that's the way you have a lot of those style messages, which are, I think, very much in alignment with this.
They're very much in alignment with the teachings of Christ. Even though I'm using Native American cards, they still are very much in alignment with what he was trying to speak of and bring to the world. Okay.
Yeah, so it could be
So
different.
let's ask if there's anything that he wants to impart to me that I need to change. Is there anything that I need to change that would
Yeah.
would benefit.
Yeah. Okay.
Should I be afraid?
No.
Because you never know what's coming back, you know.
Ganga.
Uh-oh.
Ganga.
I put myself in the fire on this one.
Ganga should. Oh, interesting. Oh. Ganga needs. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, Ganga needs her time to be sweeter, I guess.
Need my time to be sweeter. Maybe I'm a little harsh on some people. Okay.
Let's see if this is what that means. Okay, it has some of that, and yet is that all of it? I think part of it is whatever, maybe some. Okay, does this mean about experience for Ganga? Like to have a sweeter time of experience for you? You know what I mean? For your own.
For my own thing, that I need to take a little more time for myself.
Maybe
and
like
a little
sweeter. Let's see if is that what you mean too.
We'll find out.
I think they're a little bit of both.
It could be both. It could be both.
Is it a little bit of both? Okay, yes, it's a little bit of both.
A little of both.
Her time to be sweeter. That's interesting.
Yeah. Do I need to stop being so hard on like Nityananda and talking about the trolls and the things that they're doing?
Good question. Okay, so we've got a small no. We've got a no that is good in many ways to show light on what's happening in that realm. Is this benefiting things? Okay, so let's see. It does, but I guess the feeling is this hard on Ganga though? Is it hard on her a bit? Okay, it is a bit. Not, it's pretty light though. It's pretty light, and again, stilling. It's still,
I'm in that stillness, so it just goes right through.
Right,
it's not a big thing.
It's saying that's fine, really.
I think I just need to take a little more time for myself, and maybe I need to put forward. Do I need to put forward a little more of satsang's teachings on lighter subjects? Do I need to put that into place?
We're dousing in this energy. Okay. Taking a dip.
Soaking it up.
So you dip in and you come out and you get the answer. That's how that works. Okay. Anyway.
It works that way for you. It doesn't work that way for me. If I did this, all you're going to see is a pendulum going. I don't get any of that connection in that way.
I don't know why it's here. It's your fault. She named me Siddhananda. I told her that. So,
it doesn't work for me that way. It works for me. Finish this and then we'll go on to the next thing. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, lighter subjects for Ganga. Would this be nice? Kate is saying yes. Some lighter
so maybe I need to shift and do a little more satsangs again.
This is true.
I haven't been doing them for a while because I've put so many years. I've done how many years?
Christ. No to. Hold on, because it's saying no to. I mean, it's not.
Christ was only here for 3 years. I've been doing this for 19 years.
Yeah, it's not easy. Okay, so it's saying no to with the lighter subjects. So it's not necessarily saying satsang. I think it's just, let's see, this tarot is a bit lighter. Is this a lighter thing for Ganga? Okay, so that's been lighter, and I think it's reached a lot of, at least the feeling is people that are not so inclined towards a real hard renunciate path.
Is it beneficial to do the tarot? Is it? Are the readings coming out? Are they? Are they pretty accurate? Is it a beneficial thing to do, or is it better not to do tarot at all?
Okay, so has the tarot been pretty accurate? Good thing to put out to humanity. Okay, so it's yes. So it's yes and no. It's yes and it's got a little something, and I don't know what that's about, a little something else in there too. Okay, it's got a little something else in there too. That's all I can do.
So so what is the part that's not beneficial? Can you give us a little thing, a part of the tarot that's not beneficial?
Yeah.
Let's see if we get an answer on that.
To always pinpoint the exactness of it. I don't know if that had to do with accuracy. I don't know. Some things change, though. Let's face it, if you're like doing a tornado or something, it can change. You can't always say everything's exactly the same.
Yeah, is it that, and this is something I say, so let's check the accuracy of this. that you cannot depend everything on the cards because everything in the universe is in flux.
Well, I think
and
that's
people have free will. You can change your direction at any time. Is that part of it? That because people have free will, they can change their direction at any time.
Okay, so this is saying yes, that is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Life-changing.
Does tarot have anything to do with dark arts?
Okay, good question.
Does it come from the dark?
No.
No.
No, and again, though, you know, a lot of it has to do with mindset too, though.
Is it just a connecting point here that
In
for
terms
me,
of how you use
for
it.
me, it's a connecting point, and then I will get like what do you want to say? Like flashes of insight. Something will come. You know, it's a point of connection.
Okay, so let's see.
It's a point of connection. And for here, then I get flashes of insight. Not that it's seen, it's just that something that just comes
Yes.
into
this
the
is reality
consciousness.
of that,
Into the
yes.
consciousness.
Yep.
Is it that sometimes that the cards will not connect with an energy? Is there sometimes that there are just some readings it don't do because it doesn't connect? It's not connected.
Yeah, it is showing a yes.
Yeah.
That can happen.
Yeah, sometimes it just for some reason you're not connecting with that energy. You know.
Yeah.
So that happens too. But yeah, it's not out of darkness. It's not witchcraft. It's not that.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask about the pendulum reading that I do, because I get that a lot too. It's satanic.
Exactly. You
So
know,
I wanna see if
it
that's
was
true.
in the Old Testament. Did the priests not wear these things that they used, and part of it they used for divination?
Okay, say that again.
That the priests in the Old Testament,
Yeah.
the ones that would go into the Holy of Holies,
Mm-hmm.
they would, and when they go into the Holy of Holies, they would tie a rope around their ankle.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did something wrong and they dropped dead in there, they could get them out.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't just walk in there. It's the same thing, you know, when you go into that death before death. It is like a death, and you know, you can't enter that holy of a space without losing that identification as a meism. Okay, we'll just put it that way. Okay, so did in fact, the priests at that time, they wore something, and they call what it, Uman and Thurman, something like that. Did they use and they said they would use it for a divination, to ask of questions and get an answer
Oh,
back.
I see what you're asking.
Yeah.
So is this part of what took place in yes.
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 Yes. That they would bypass the rational mind to consciousness. It bypasses, ask if that's true, it bypasses the rational mind of identifications and into more direct
Right,
consciousness.
And that's always what I try to, explain about this energy, the connection and everything too, with
Yeah, because a lot of
readings.
times, the cards or the pendulum or whatever will come up with readings that really
that's
will
it.
surprise.
That's
It's
it.
like that one, the psychic Dave, that he was doing the one on Kavanaugh. He was so surprised because he's like, immediately he's a shoo-in. But then
That's the thing, you
when
don't
he says he
know.
channels the man from the moon, that's so hysterical.
Yeah.
But he, again, whatever he's channeling, again said, no, Kavanaugh is not going to get in. And he was absolutely
Yeah.
surprised. So sometimes it's surprising here.
For sure.
When
The same
everything first fell away from me in realization, and I would get up to do satsang, I don't have something pre-planned. It just comes into the consciousness, and you speak. And sometimes it was surprising to me what would come forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I never know exactly what was going to come forward. Now, through the years, that has not become so feeling of remarkable. It's just your normal daily thing at that point. So it's, but yeah, in the beginning, you don't know what's going to come out. Okay?
And how it will come out, how strong, how
Exactly.
light, how whatever. It just is. It just happens that way.
It just happens that way. Okay, one
Yeah.
goes out of the rational thinking mind and goes into this direct consciousness, connecting. I guess you could say you connecting with the universal
Right.
consciousness, and it just comes forward. That's all. It's a natural thing that happens. So, yeah. So let's ask if there's anything else that he would like to bring forward, either in guidance or direction or admonishment.
Oh, for you still? Are we still
Well,
on
for
you,
any,
or?
for any,
Oh.
for myself or anyone, or humanity in general, whatever. You know, because Spirit is not going to give you something that you don't ask for. Okay? If you want to stay ignorant, they're not going to force you to see it. Okay? You can stay in ignorance. Okay? So this is why I'm asking, you know, to allow it to bring forward, because you have free will. Okay? So if you want to know, you have to ask, and then be prepared for what comes back, because it might not be what you want to hear. If you don't want to hear it, don't ask the question. Okay? If you're not prepared to hear it, because you might get something very strong back that you don't want to hear. That happens.
Okay, so it's, you know, it's just more the feeling of be still, be quiet, and don't waste time on other endeavors besides that. I mean, it's like, you know, come back to balance.
It's kind of like the same thing that I'm trying to teach people. You know, if you want to know God, you got to put in the effort 24/7. You know, the path of the mystic is not easy. Okay? And nobody can do it for you. You have to be willing to put yourself through the trenches and go through all those difficult times in order to progress. Okay? That's just the way it is. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, let's ask. There's one other thing I wanted to ask. Can one get to realization without having Kundalini awakening? And let's ask about Kundalini.
Yeah, I do want to ask a
That
little bit
would be a
about
good one, too.
a quick one about the pendulum readings I do.
Yeah,
before
go
I
ahead
on.
and do that.
So the pendulum readings that I do, are those beneficial? Okay, so one can see it, yes. And do they, I guess all I can say is have some accuracy to them. Okay, so there is a yes, that they're more spirit-based is what is felt. Is this satanic working with the pendulum like this? No, it's not satanic. So is it making up stories, what comes with this? No, it's not making up stories. Okay, because I just get that so much.
And the other one I wanted to ask about is when we were working with the other side.
Right.
When I asked, you know, if they bowed to the light of truth,
Right.
if that is accurate, that the negative, dark forces will not bow to the light of truth.
Right. Good one.
Is that a good?
So it's saying this is true, that won't happen.
Yeah, they won't bow to the light of truth.
Right.
You know, and so that is an immediate thing when I'm working with other side and they come in and they try to want to present as a light, because again, Satan presents as an angel of light. That darkness will try to pass it off as an angel of light, but they will not bow to the light of truth.
And that's when they scram.
And well, when I do a mantra at that point, then they will scram.
Yeah,
Is the mantras I'm doing effective on that point to
break down that type of energy? So there's a nice big yes to that. It's very substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you have the right mantra and you know what that energy is, and this is the other thing I wanted to ask with it, is because, you know, when I teach Hinduism, when I teach these paths, are the gods, like we have Kali, we have Durga, we have Shiva, we have Krishna, are these basically states of energy, concentrated energy forms?
Okay, so yes.
Yes. Okay? They're not physical beings. They are states of awareness, consciousness of energy form, concentrated energy forms. Okay? They are concentrated energy forms.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of ground today.
Boy, I'm glad you were here to have all those questions I would never have. So,
yeah, there was something else I was going to ask, but now it's gone.
I know, it's so
in
easy
the ozones.
to have that happen. I think, one of them, though, was with that same question was in terms of where, and they always want to go into the humanity where is its spiritual consciousness at now overall, I think, is what people wanted to know. And will that get better? We did cover that.
Yeah.
That you have to take your own, efforts.
Yeah, we covered that. Everything is polarizing now.
Yeah.
Okay, it's polarizing, and you've got to do the work. There is no, immediate, there's 10 enlightened people on the planet that's going to pull everybody into enlightenment. That's not true. That's not going to happen. Okay, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but then overall, to just put up, like, in terms of where a lot of mindsets are now, you really do feel a coming down low in many ways.
The darkness is coming more pronounced, and they are feeding on that. Mm-hmm. Let's ask: are there many enlightened people on the planet?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Are there many?
Are there more than a few? You mean? Okay, are there many?
I mean, I would like to find a few more. Would be good,
nice.
Good thing.
Okay, do you have the address of that cave up in the Himalayas?
Exactly.
Write it down. Put it as a contact in your phone. Okay, so are there? No.
Not many. Because it's difficult.
Nope.
It's difficult. Does it take that ultimate sacrifice of death before death? Does it take that ultimate sacrifice?
It does, and see, that's the
the other thing we were going to ask about Kundalini.
Oh, right, we almost forgot about that.
What in fact is the Kundalini? So many people think it's satanic. They think it's dark. They think it's demonic, and this is what we get from a lot of the so-called Christian churches. That it's dark, it's demonic. What in fact is Kundalini? And why is this needed to progress?
Yes, good one. Okay, so Kundalini, is it a dark satanic energy? No. Holy Spirit, holy energy.
Yeah, it is, and you were right the first time, it's like the Holy Spirit.
Spirit.
When the Holy Spirit went through the congregation and they had the lights, remember the tongues of flames above the head?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like Kundalini. It's like, it is Kundalini, what they call Kundalini. It is the awakening of that Holy Spirit. Does Kundalini, the Holy Spirit, in fact go in to challenge everything you thought you knew to be true? Does it go in and brings up all those fears to be challenged, all that stuff?
Big, so it just says collected and gathered. What is in there is to become up, to be revealed.
Exactly. Yeah. I say it's like Roto-Rooter.
Yeah.
Whatever you've had in your consciousness for lifetimes, it is going to bring it up in your face to be encountered, to be challenged, to be walked through, to be dispelled. Okay? So it's a very difficult process. Okay?
For sure. And so but just to be clear too, let's ask, is Kundalini prerequisite to enlightenment? Because people always, they think they can bypass that. Is it? Is it prerequisite? You can see, yes. Otherwise that consciousness or the mindset, it stays so solid.
Exactly.
Feeling, and it stays so kind of locked in the body-mind connection thing. It needs to break apart.
Exactly.
And, start moving.
Well, it's got like that one and this just came up in the consciousness. It's like in the Old Testament when they're out in the desert. And the guy holds up this rod with the snake on it. And it's with a snake wrapped around it. And it says, you have to be bit by that in order to, rectify what's there. It's kind of like that homeopathic thing where they give you the thing. But it's like that. It's like that. You have to face that. You have to go through that. And you have to go through the fires of transformation. Okay, so it's like that. It's like where they get the caduceus. They have the ones that are going up that are healing in the end. Although it's like poison to go through it. It's not fun. Okay, it's like poison to go through it. But it says about that in the Old Testament again, that they're out in the desert, and he holds up the rod, and it's got the serpent on it, poisonous serpent, and one has to basically be bit by that and transcend that, go through that to see it. Okay, so I mean, these things are there in the Bible if you know where to look, if you understand what's being spoken of. Okay, but people take things so out of context they don't get what's being said. Are all these mysteries contained in the Bible?
All the mysteries.
Are those mysteries all contained and spoken of?
Okay, so yes, they are.
Yeah.
A pretty big yes.
Very big yes. They're there if you know where to look. But there's a lot of other drama. Is there not also another drama where they tried to skew it, where they tried to skew things?
That's what the positive and negative that we're coming
exactly.
back to that. There is. And
it's like even in the Old Testament too, where they're stoning people and they're doing that. Those are ideations of men's mistaken dogmatic drama. Okay. But there is truth in there, and then again there's the fallacy of dogmatic stuff where men wanted to change that pure teaching into something that they could manage, relegate, they could use for their own purposes.
Right, own gratification.
And this is why so many talk about fear. They rule in fear. They keep bringing up these ideations of fear, to rule people. And that's why Christ said, fear not. Life is eternal, fear not. Darkness is not going to win over light. If you stand in the light and you stay in that centeredness, the worst they can do is take away your physical form. It's all they can do. Okay? They can take away your physical form, but life is eternal. Okay? They can't do anything to degrade that consciousness if you stand in that truth and that light. Okay? You're going to face a lot of difficulties when you're standing in that and you're confronting darkness, you're confronting these illusions. You're going to pay the price. You got to be willing to walk through that. Okay?
Yeah. Anything else to end with?
I think we'll leave it up to if Yeshua Ben Joseph has something else that he wants to impart. While we
have that energy.
Yes, as long as we have that energy here, let's find out if he's anything else that he wants to put out there to anyone.
Okay, I'm just hearing spirit follow. Okay. Spirit find all as equal, as same. Spirit, find all as same in heart. Okay.
Yeah. Everyone comes from the same generating spirit. Okay, we all start out on a level playing field. Some are not created better and some lesser. We all start out in the same playing field. We all have the same amount of consciousness and life within us. Okay? So that's it.
I think we covered a lot of ground. So
I think we covered a lot of ground for the time we've been on, and oh Lord knows what kind of comments we'll get back from this, but we'll leave this at this. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that this has been a good day to do this on September 11th. Yeah, it's a good day to do this. So
have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day. Aho! See you online.
See you later.